All right, guys, we are live. What's up? What's happening? What's going on?
What's up, guys?
Calm her down.
So, Alex, how's your recovery been after the last couple of days?
It's been yesterday didn't help.
Well, talk a little bit about that because you wound up having an adventure, right?
Yeah, I went on a small adventure because I thought it was a shortcut.
A small 24-mile adventure.
A small 24, yeah, 24 on foot mile adventure. My feet still don't feel right.
He was practicing for the part of Ben Hur.
So that's the thing, right? Is like those long fucking hikes.
Yeah, at least some good came of it. I got a giant feather. I think it's from a hawk. I also got a piece of a turtle shell.
That's good. Make sure you don't hang on to that hawk feather too long, because there's endangered protection acts against the protection of those things. You're not allowed to take them out the wild.
Oh, really? You're not allowed to take hawk feathers out of the wild?
Birds of prey. They special place in EPA health for people that admit to that sort of thing. So make sure you deliver that back to the forest in some kind of way, so that way you get that back out into nature.
Well, I mean, I live in the woods, so technically speaking, my own yard is the forest.
Yeah, there you go. You're not allowed to claim ownership. That's the thing. You're not allowed to take it out of the wild. So don't get yourself into trouble for that. Just words of safety. Leave stuff that are the feathers out.
I mean, I only probably just gonna take a little bit of the tip and mix it in ink, and then put it back in the wild, or a couple of the floofs off the feather, whatever they're called. I don't know bird terminology very well.
Don't say things like that, because I'm not encouraging that. I'm not condoning that. I'm not. No, that's we're in a public venue streaming live. It's a violation of state and local laws to have those things with you.
Right. So just putting it back whenever I can, as soon as I can.
Put it back when you can. What I would recommend you do is maybe rinse it with some water. That way you don't have any physical ingredients, and then you get feather water, right? So that the compound that you mix with your ink and these kinds of things, that way you're not in violation of any of the local protection. It gets back into nature. You've gently touched nature, but also mind the fact that dead bird diseases on feathers and crap like that. Like, just leave it. Like,
right.
You can get really sick from shit like that. But that's just we are trying to produce witchcraft in a safe kind of way that doesn't make it look like we're out there stealing relics from holy sites, desecrating monuments, violating nature, stealing and raping from the natural environment in any kind of way. So we have to be as light touch as we can. Right? So this is why things like the Taoist energy transfers, why spirit removals and implantations into crystals or sigils or intermediaries that we create become more potent, because they carry the reverence, we'll say, the gravitas of interacting with that capacity and that medium without having to take away from the environment in which it originates, right? So we can appreciate it, and others and the generations to come can still appreciate it as well. And that's a thing that's grave robbing or stealing from churches and things like that. It's a part of old magic. Like, yes, that is a part of history. But if we can move forward outside of history and create new histories, right? We can choose how we want our craft to be in the community. We can choose and intend that our work goes forth in a beneficial way, and we set forth procedures, rituals, rites, spellcraft that's designed to transfer essence and energies, so that way, as it exists in nature, so can it exist in our work, right? And so this is why carrying a little bottles or little vials of water and things like that you can, like scientific supplies. Like this goes back to carrying a bag of alchemy supplies with you when you go out on those adventures, so that way when you're in nature, you can leave it in nature or with nature, but you'll have all the material with you that will allow you to produce the necessary effect, so that way when you do get home, you can make those inks and you don't have to have physical components which could endanger your safety, which could endanger your health, which could endanger the environment in which you live.
Okay.
You know, it's just these extra considerations, is because in a lot of places it is quite illegal to have a lot of the tools of witchcraft. The government and religious societies have done their damnedest to make sure that we can't gather in public, that we can't do the things that we need to do because of their view and their repression via their mythologies.
Right. And that's why, you know, like you said, we have to be careful, and I'm doing my best to be careful. But like most policemen would say, ignorance to the law is not an excuse. You have to know your laws. Do a better job of teaching them. First off, you can't just leave people in the dark and then expect them to know.
Right.
Which I feel like we need more training for the police force besides just a year.
Right. And that would be interesting. That would be an interesting discussion, is to approach the police force with discussions on witchcraft and witchcraft in the community, so that they can get training on elements that they'll encounter in the wild that are witchcraft environments, that aren't something to be feared or aren't something to be
It's all about just giving the information. They have that information for the military. All it is about handing it out as a pamphlet to the police officers and making sure they read it.
Interesting. Okay.
The mother of my firstborn, her father was Wiccan and in the military. They had to fight for the right to even have an altar put up for them. So, and he was one of the reasons why they had an altar to worship at.
That's amazing.
He was an amazing guy. Mischievous, but a good guy.
That's cool. There was I believe it was in 95 that they allow for the pentagram, or the 5-point star with the circle, to be placed on the graves of pagan soldiers. Like, to be able to honor the dead and the fallen with pagan rites, to be able to incorporate people who lived different kind of ways into a normative society, so it becomes more inclusive. Right.
And that's where a lot of people are, you know, and from the past have done a lot of good, because you could see them on dog tag, you could see them on, like you said, the grave sites, you could see them, the altars now on base. There's now we are slowly but surely integrating into the public view.
That's
have
amazing.
For a while. Even have, like, granted it's mostly Wiccan as far as I've found, but a lot of witch ministries will go into the jails so that they can help those in incarcerated to.
So that's an interesting thing, because that's something that we were talking about last year when Mike was developing his hermetics programs, is like, as he's applying hermeticism and alternative lifestyle patterns to his life now, it's giving him the foundation of experience to talk from when he goes and introduces it to others. Right? As he's introducing it now with you and the people on the channels that are watching this and engaging with us in the feed and the chats and the comments and in private groups and stuff. This is the kind of thing, like, okay, well, what is the next step of our interaction with those communities going to look like? Because everybody that I work with is gender X. Like, there's not one straight cis person that's working in the shop that I have met thus far. And it's amazing. These are some of the coolest people. Like, everybody's so fun. But to be marginalized, to be having to, like, I got called out the other day by one of my coworkers, and this brings the topic of the day is masking. How do you have to hide yourself? So that way we can have these discussions and they'll take us seriously. How are we going to present it in a way that people will take this seriously?
By doing that. No, sure.
Mike, what you think?
I really don't. I mean, like, we're not masking anything. We're pretty much putting it out there. I said, we're not masking anything. We're pretty much putting it out there. I mean,
right.
We're talking about it. We're putting the proof out there. We're showing people that, these things exist. All while bettering.
Right. And it's how do we better the community, right? Like, how are we doing that? It's not just about us presenting, oh, we're these great sorcerers. It's like, okay, well, what's the teaching that we're doing helping, right? How are we going to move forward as we grow and as you both grow, right? Like, as Sandy grows and integrates what she's up to, as you cultivate the relationships with the online communities that you're doing, right? And as Omen Star gets the physical arts department going.
I'm working on it. I'm definitely got people already excited on coming over to train. We have the 2 Shinai coming in the mail. Electrical tape don't cost that much. Maybe a couple bucks, and I could get that from cans.
Cool. I thought you said you had some, so I didn't.
Oh no, I don't have any. I ran out with my 2 swords.
Gotcha.
But it's not that expensive. Plus, I know a lot of guys, and they have electrical tape because they work in shops and shit. I used to be the same way, keeping the electrical tape on me, but I no longer work in shops.
So, here's a question. What about as you go out into the community and as you start interacting with people as physical arts student, right? Because this is you're still a student of the academy. We haven't figured out your department. We haven't figured out what it is that you're going to move into as you begin to give a path of practice that you can begin to become, right? It's that path of beginning to become. Like, as Mike, I still got to figure out how or when. I'm still working on the advertising of that event for the paranormal department. Like, so many things. But as we're cultivating these relationships with what it is you want to do and the focus that you want to give it, right? If we could get business sponsorships for a tournament where we can give awards, spell books, wands, robes, some big extravagant whatever, right? For these tournaments, that the teachers, the instructors to be, would get a shot to show their stuff in tournament.
Right.
So that
and
as they go through the tournament, they earn the right to teach or lead the department for that next year.
Ooh. That'd be nice. I mean, like, we were looking up earlier the HEMA, what you need for the HEMA, and it's like, what? Some sort of written curriculum to talk about the history, because you have to know the history if you're going to use the weapon, at least because it's historical European martial arts.
Right.
Okay.
So this is going to be good. This is going to be fun. It'll give us a chance to talk to the bladesmiths, the weaponsmiths, right? So as Doc crafts weapons and knives for folks as ceremonial pieces, as ritual pieces, right? In a way to honor the things that we don't have to pick up in blood. We don't have to pick up and worry about defensive life with, right? Those items that we can put on an altar and say, this we will not use, but we honor the spirits that were there for that time, for that place, for those lives that we interacted with during that time. So for those folks that need to put up the sword, those soldiers that get out of the military that want to put up their weapons, right? They have a way to honor that aspect and that transition of themselves, right? Those that are fallen, there can be a place to honor them, right? Those that are in a difficult situation, right? Like, as even the manager of the shop put it, right? One bad paycheck away from being out on the streets with a blanket. Like, there are difficulties with the way modern society is treating itself. And if we can offer these Ren Fair moments, right? Like, I was listening to sex themed shanty tunes in the shop last night, and
Quite a bit of them, huh?
they're amazing. They are so amazing. And one of the few customers that we had last night, because it was so damn slow, made the comment, so it's like a Ren Fair then. I'm like, huh. Yeah, I guess it is. So it's like preceding the fact that we're going to be doing Ren Fair things by accident, like, you know. So it's like trying to get people into the idea of like, okay, well, what if we had a Ren Fair themed sex shop? What if we had Ren Fair themed events that were more like fairs and carnivals and things where people can show off aspects of their culture, right? Whatever that culture is. And one of the things that's really hilarious as a lead in today is what the comments about the Divine Sorcerer's outfit were.
Oh, yes.
So if we're interacting with sex-themed communities, sex-positive communities, like, you know, at the shop, I needed to know where the sex club was, and last night was $10 Tuesday. So it's like, hey, get her done. So it's like there are settings where we don't have to hide divergence. There are settings where we don't have to mask ourselves. And there should be business opportunities for people that want to be able to include themselves and their normal day-to-day business, but they want to be able to interact with us, not just for their private lives, right? In the venues where we have those products and services available, in their physical arts, as they go and watch folks knock the crap out of each other with live swords or like demo weapons and shit. Like, that's fucking cool, right? Like, get the fairs built. Let's fucking do this.
Oh yeah, like let me see here. The video you see, I've shown you of me sword fighting
Yes,
back in the day. That was in Battle Creek in the woods.
that's cool.
They had literally cleared out areas of the woods for and it was beautiful. It was gorgeous.
That's
Like,
amazing. The fella who's the knife maker, one of the knife makers for the academy over there in Pakistan, has been on me. I need to get swords, shields. I need to order like stuff for sale that we can do. That's custom for us that he's not going to replicate and resell.
right.
Because I had custom stuff. Because I was asking for some customizations, which are now being sold, and I'm not happy about that.
Oh.
So there are elements to these things where it's like, okay, well, we have certain symbols, certain ideas that are going into the construction of these that need to not be available outside of limited runs to those that will be able to benefit most from those energies, or the
Right.
people who want a piece of the academy history in a way that's going to be beneficial and developmental for all those involved, right? So that even if they can't participate in person yet, they'll be able to train online with you or any of the historic European martial arts instructors that we can bring on to do live demos or things like that in online events, where we can each have the shinai and we can each take the positions. We can, do the martial arts together, right? Learn the trade or learn the foundation of the trade, so that in those aspects, in those places where we are at, we can include elements of what we do. Right. So at the flog venue, right, where that really badass flogger is, like, that thing is incredible. Like, stuff like that, bringing on that guy's stuff to offer to people, right? Like, that's the thing that I want to do, is to be able to work out with him. It's like, okay, well, I want these things custom made, right? Like, I want these things to be able to be like carved with the right symbols for each of the person, so that when they connect to their tool, like Doc was saying, like, you put your soul into the hammer or into the forge or into those kinds of things, and you become one with it, right?
Right.
How do we do that with swords now? How do
Well,
we do that with the armor that they make? Like,
the armor, I'm not so sure about, but I can explain the swords a little bit if you like.
go for it.
I feel how I extended the ranks back then was I did spiritually connect with the Shinai. What I did was I didn't, unlike my friends who also joined and was trying to learn swords, I didn't use it like it was just a weapon. I used it as an extension of myself. I learned, okay, how does my body move and what can I do with each guard? What can I do with the basics? And that's really all it comes down to, is the basics. I learned a 6-point defense, which also goes into a 6-point offense. It's the same movements ish, minus the difference with offense and defense, but it's a 6 directional movements. Well, as they're trying to move their sword as a sword, I'm just fluid with it. It's a part of me, so I dance with it.
Ooh, sword dancing.
Mhm.
Interesting.
It becomes a. That's how I see it, and because one thing they really liked about me is that I knew how to take a bump, which is to say, if you've ever seen pro wrestling where they land a specific way, I took a lot of other different martial arts through various YouTube instructionals. So I
Right.
had the basics of, also I was thrown around a lot because I'm skinny and everybody likes to wrestle me and throw me around like a rag doll. So I learned real fast how's the easiest way for me to land without hurting myself and make it still look real. And that's
Right.
what they liked. I mean, we at one point we were developing a staff on sword battle style where of course the prince would win, but it was no one else could do it. Everyone else who tried was like, I don't get it. He's like, have you ever gone up against a staff before, Alex? Because you seem pretty. No, not at all. This is first time. How are you able to? I don't know. Just the way you're moving it, basically, this like you're using 2 swords. So I just act as if you're using 2 swords and go from there. That's why I love my ADHD. I'm able to break down and analyze in a split second what most people would have to sit there and go rewind the video. Okay, what did I do wrong?
Right.
I mean, granted, I still have to do that, but it's not as often.
Right. And there's a point in intuition where I've noticed this in certain kinds of magics, that if you can key into this kind of moment of interacting with that sensation of being able to splice and parse the moment, right? If you can do that, but you can do that faster than needing to be in the moment itself. If you can read that moment in that kind of split division for intentional moments, using key pieces of information, using one doorway in, you can crack into the whole universe that represents.
Okay.
You can touch another aspect of the dimensional boundaries in your own perception and your own magic. So when you're working in the dreamscapes and you start peeling back the layers of reality, you'll be able to hopefully get that God form that you were interacting with to be able to give you guideposts to know either if it's a dream that's illusory or if it's a dream that's prophetic, right? And to be able to tell the difference between the two of them. And then to be able to do that when you hold a sword and you see somebody's stance, that you could almost see them moving before they move. So you know where they're at before they do.
Now, as much as Doc doesn't like my favorite anime in the world, which, you know, everyone has their opinions, even if they're wrong. But One Piece, there's this type of ability called observation hockey. An advanced observation hockey, you are able to see a few seconds into the future and see your opponent move. Okay, Rose, thank you. Yes, please. And sorry, children. But where was I? Advanced observation hockey. Yes. They're able to see their opponent's movements a split second before they even make the move or decide to make the move. So I think that would be cool to develop. And I'm sure it is able to be developed, but I feel only a slight majority of people will be able to do it, and the requirement would have to be some form of ADHD.
Right.
That'll allow, because the slowing down of the moment, and because your brain processes faster than most, is essential. So that would be the first step. And I learned how to do that through mixed martial arts. I became really good at that. So there's those, which is being able to trust your own body to react, which means practicing movements that may make you look funny, even if you're not holding anything. That's what I do with a sword. Is I'll grab it, and it's just the same movements. You know, it that way it becomes a muscle memory, and you could do it with anything. Hey, look, I got a sword now. Now, you know, you're working in the freaking kitchen, you're cooking something. Oh, hey, look, your spatula is now a sword.
Right. And see, this is where the thing that I like to get into is shopkeeper magic, right? Shopkeeper magic is what I classify as, okay, well, how do you do it so subtly that everything you do and touch just appears as if it was done, right? So much so like it's like a martial art, right? How are the shelves arranged and ever just so? Right? But it's that precision, that aiming to how are you doing these movements in your day to day? Where do you find them and what can you do more of to cultivate strength training in your day to day that would allow for easy integration of these exercises and an accelerated precision if you can do an arch study of I'm doing this position with the mop over here, right? So when I do this position here, I have strength in my arms that I can train on if I slow my muscles down when I'm up.
You want to know something cool? Guess what? You know a very good sword guard to protect your center. Look, doom, doom, doom. Now you blocked any shot coming from either side and deflecting it, parrying it away. It's that movement of it's a loose movement. Everyone thinks you got to be stiff. No, you want to be fluid.
Got to just go like a mop. But
hmm
that's the thing about Taoist stuff, right? And this is why I like Tai Chi so much, is because it's the study of flow, but it's the slowing down of that flow so that the slow, gentle motion is packed with the full weight and strength of what you have behind it, right? So as you're incorporating wrist movement, it's still like whatever it is that you need to do in that moment of flow state in order to be able to connect with your power center, your chi flow, the universal flows, the elemental flows, so that you have the utmost strength in the moment that you need it. Right? So that if that time does come where you are put in a situation, you can revert to center. But it's only through the study and the application of the study. And this is where in my years past, I haven't been as good as an application to it, because there hasn't been a situation to where I can apply this kind of training in isolation. And again, this goes back to, okay, well, how do our people keep themselves safe while they're learning this stuff in isolation? And I say, learn to integrate it into your day-to-day. Learn to figure out what in your day-to-day movements would allow you to begin to prepare sword training or begin physical arts training. So that way, as you go through, you can incorporate some element of fun reasons to do physical exercise, some reasons to do different ways to approach housekeeping, different ways to approach store maintenance, different ways to approach maintenance, physical exercise. You know, these kinds of things are stuff that I'm finding myself leaning more and more into, especially as I pick up more and more shifts at the shop. So it's just these considerations that come up throughout the day, and it's like, well, what does non-masking look like, right? What does unmasking the self look like to people who incorporate every aspect of who they are in everything that they do, right? And there's people that don't do that, or they do it in such a way that they're still not aware of that part of how they're presenting themselves. And so we need to figure out a way, okay, well, in that presentation of ourselves, how do we present ourselves with a serious, this is what we're doing, this is how we're going to do it, and this is what we did as a result of what we're doing. So that way we can present it with the kind of strength and skill set that it requires to win said tournament, if there was, you know, because I want to hedge my bets, and I'd like to be able to bet on you to win. You know, I don't want to have to fork over a trophy to someone outside the house. You know what I mean?
I have this bad habit. My masking style is chameleon. It's an actual thing for people with borderline personality disorder to mimic their surroundings, to blend in, to be accepted. It's a rejection sensitivity issue that we tend to develop to not be out, you know, the weird one out, you know, not to feel accepted. So I don't know much how to explain it. It's just I'm able to see how people think, see how people react, and I'm looking for that, so that I know, okay, how do these people and their friendships work, so that I can feel like I'm accepted among my peers.
Right.
And what it does is it leaves a trace of that on the I will say, I'm just gonna say soul. So it becomes part of that, my personality, and it's one of those things, if I'm not careful, I can lose who I am. So I have to, all right, pick and choose. Okay, this trait, who did I learn it from? Was it toxic? Do I need to keep incorporating this into my life? So it becomes more of a hassle to go through, but it's still, like you said, it needs to be done. And you have to see, okay, what's in your day to day that's needs to be balanced.
Right. And what do we do that can balance it? Right. It's like, at what point in the day do physical activities get done around? Like for me, I go and revert to, well, my schedule is everything. Right? Like what I do, even if I don't have it written down, I have a general within 15 minutes, something's going to get done, and this is what it's going to be.
Right.
Right? Because I'm not trying to live by a rigid, well, at 8:06, I'm doing this. At 8:07, I'm doing that. At 8:52, I'm doing this. Right? It's like I try not to do that. I want it to be a progression of steps so that way, as I go through my night and I'm breaking down the store and I'm closing up shop, right? There's a procedure list that I have to follow. There's, I don't even know how many steps right now. They're just there. But at the end of the night, I'm the one that's responsible for them. So that way the store looks beautiful and immaculate and ready to go for the first thing in the morning. Right. And so this kind of a procedure list is what we're going to need to set up for when the setup and breakdown occurs of our retail locations for these vendor booths. There needs to be an order of operations. Okay, out goes the tablecloth, out goes the displays, out goes then the soft items, out goes then the hard items, right? Soft items being stuff that's disposable, like one-time use objects, right? Mm-hmm. Hard items being something that's going to be like knives or books or things like that. And then there's going to be the educational items, and then there's going to be the military stuff, which is going to be the sword training, right? And the reason I say military stuff is because the guys that want to do a physical activity that's fun, that they can go LARP with, they can do it under a historical weapons context, and it doesn't have to be, oh, the nerds are gathering again.
Right, and that's why I like stuff like Amped Guard, which is more of a historical, accurate type of LARPing, where people actually will make the leather, or people will actually, even if it's foam weapons, will make the foam weapons as accurate as they can. Sure, they throw some fantasy in there, but still, it's LARP. What do you expect?
I mean, that's what's cool. I mean, go for them to be able to interweave a fantastical storyline into it, where they get a chance to live a secondary life, where they get to live in a different kind of way, so that they have a mask that they can choose and adopt, so that they get to be known as that character in that kind of life.
Right. And that's why I love role-playing games. You can be who you want to be. You can unmask, actually, and become who you want to be. Because it's the freedom to be able to, in a imaginatory situation where you don't have the restraints of normal day life.
Exactly. What's up, Steve?
What's up, bro?
How goes it? But yeah, I mean, and that's isn't that what we're up to?
Pretty much.
I mean, we're doing the thing. We might be a little slow on the uptick, but we're working on it. We're progressing.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
No, right. It was not. No, it was not.
We are blessed. How are you, brother?
Good day, good day. Oh, yay! So there's lots coming. I mean, there's lots that we're doing, and that I need to get more rigid about my schedule with. But with the manifestations that everybody's having with works that they've done either separately or collaboratively, like as the preparation rites for the rites of transformation and stuff, like the reason why I want to cultivate physical action with magic, right? The paranormal community with the work that the Divine Sorcerer is doing, with the HEMA communities that we can get Omenstar working on. It's these kinds of applications of our magic that gets to demonstrate that shopkeeper thing that I was talking about, where we get to become the craft that we get to do, so that unmasking becomes the growing into the fullness of the self that we get to be. Right?
Like they're doing at that coffee shop, and I think it's what, Detroit?
That's fucking excellent. That's fucking excellent. And so this again gives us a chance to. You've got the paperwork. It technically it can exist as a nonprofit extension. So the what is it? The Black and Light Guild that you created.
Yeah.
You could start operations for people to join that, and then we could throw that as the tournament head, like the Black and Light Guild tournament, or some such like that, where there becomes a reason to engage, right? Where we can reach out into the business communities, into those people that are teachers or instructors, and if they don't know how to teach classes, if they don't have the confidence in order to teach these things online yet, we can offer a community training ground where they get to do that, right? So that the entrepreneurs that are trying to entrepreneur in different things get a chance to come and do their thing with you guys. Like right. Gilberto, the guy who does movement and the energies of movement. If we could get him to work with you for a little bit on different energetics and movement for the sword, I think that would be pretty fucking special.
I think so too, especially seeing as I have someone under me who's learning under me. So, I have a squire, so I have to teach this guy what I know.
Right. And so if we get you mentors and if we get you teachers that are in the communities doing the thing in the same kind of way that I was able to reach up out of my own station into working with folks like Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi and all those kind of folks, we can actually start getting the names of the people that are in those communities and working with them and reaching into those places where we would otherwise not be. And have the opportunity for that self-education, have that opportunity for people to reach out and be like, hey, I'm doing this. Let's do this with people.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's not just people in hermitages in isolation. And there's so much a tendency to just be done with people after your shift at work, right? Like the shift was shit, your employees are shit, your community is shit, like all of those things are garbage. Right? And so you retreat into yourself. You retreat into, who do I want to be when no one's watching me? Right? Who do you want to be? Right? Like that kind of questioning of yourself. Well, who are you really? Right? Are you the magician that you present? Are you the rap artist? Are you the paranormal investigator? Are you the necromancer? Are you the business owner? Are you the lost fucking individual trying to unbefuddle yourself in a Saturday afternoon, right?
Right. I'm the divine sorcerer. My scale won't work, damn it.
So there's the Gray School of Wizardry, and these guys are really, really fun, right? Yeah. And as I'm focused on trying to integrate these projects in the students that I've got now, right? And I'm not in charge of the magical practice department, right? Like I'm very bad at interacting with that community right now. And for that, I do apologize, Headmaster Kingsley. But this demands my attention first. Making sure that we have entry points into this kind of information, into these kinds of places where if the younger generation wants to come and learn, if we can find others who are more qualified in dealing with children, we could teach them the magic that they can teach the children. Right?
Right. We see a lot of Wiccan programs for that, but there's not much any other teachings out there for people or children who want to learn.
Outstanding, Stephen. Bring him on. Here, do you want to join us and you want to come have a chat, bro?
Link.
Like, here, come, chat, join. Open discussion. Come join if you can.
Oh, yeah, come on up here, Steve. Oh, I got kratom all over me. Look at that.
Look at you, regulating by nature.
Hey.
And see, and again, that schedule, like, what is that schedule that you live by in order to regulate? You're on an 8-hour cycle with that, right?
No, actually, if I was taking the green, and that's a lot of what people don't know, and I suggest you research it because I spent a lot of time researching it before I started taking it. But the strains, it's like marijuana kind of. Different strains have different effects. Like the green is more mind focusing, like motivational, energizing kind of, but it will still take your pain away. Not as long as the red. The red, that makes you like relaxed, kind of like you took a muscle relaxer, like really, but it'll also knock you out too. I mean, it'll put you to sleep if you're not used to taking it. Once you get used to taking it, it does not put you out. But with the red, I can go 12 hours, anywhere from 10 to 12 hours, no pain. Very minimal pain at most. If I overdo it, it'll come back, but very minimal pain at most. The green only lasts 4 to 6 hours. The white don't last that. The white don't do shit, but it will give you a lot of energy and help you with like ADHD and stuff like that.
See, now maybe that's something we think about, like sending over to you and see how that works. Oh.
So therefore, I was able to get off all opioids, and then I, of course, use marijuana, cannabis, for my anxiety, my nausea, things like that. And then I'm supposed to take aspirin because having heart disease, high cholesterol, and stuff like that. But you guys know me. I'm not big pharma. Like I don't do the big brother. No. So instead of taking aspirin, I eat hot peppers. I like hot peppers, like ghost peppers. Ghost peppers.
Still inside the car, the audio started cutting out.
Love me some ghost peppers.
Ooh.
I'm gonna
hit me hard, man. The one chip challenge hit me hard.
Oh man, I make this rice stuff. I gave my roommate some. He's like, dude, that shit was hot. I gave it to the dog, and the dog sniffed it and backed up. It was hot. It's just a ghost pepper, man.
Do you watch Hot Ones at all?
Yeah, I have seen it. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Good.
I'm more into like Johnny Scoville and Chase the Heat. Great channel for anybody out there that ain't watched it yet. Johnny Scoville kicks ass.
Let's see. That's great. Steven, did I have your I think I'm interacting with you. There we go. Okay, so that is you I am talking to, not a bot of you. There we go. Boom. Hopefully.
I was gonna say he's in that group in Facebook, the Intuition something.
Yeah, I just messaged him, but he uses his middle name on Facebook, and I don't know if that's his profile, but yeah, no, he messaged back, and so hopefully this works, and he can join, and we can chat, and because his background is fascinating, like there's different stuff that he's gotten up to, and it's just neat some of the stuff that he's posted. But I'll let him talk about that stuff. Like his sense of humor is really good too. So this is fun.
Yeah, he's funny.
But it's like as the academy gets to grow, as we get to choose how it is we develop these things, right? I was watching those Percy Jackson movies the other day, trying to figure out, okay, well, this is an idea. Hey, what's up?
How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing today? Welcome.
Good. I have to wear sunglasses because I'm partially blind. So
You're good, bro. You're good.
yeah.
So, talk a little bit about what your background is, like how, like what you like. Get into it a little bit.
Well, actually, my love for the craft started when I was like 10 years old, and I just I don't know why, but when I was younger, I felt like when I was at stoplights, I felt like when I blinked, I could change a stoplight from red to green. And it seemed like every time my mom would drive through a stoplight here in Bremerton, I would say, "Hey, Mom, check this out." I would blink, and the stoplight would change from red to green. And it was usually the stoplights that it would take like 10 to 20 minutes for the light to change.
Hey, that's fun.
Because I'm partially blind, so. But yeah.
Somebody got their YouTube playing?
Yeah, I've got the YouTube in the background.
Uh-oh.
It echoes.
There we go.
Cool. Oh man, that's fun. I remember there was a time when I was fucking around in San Francisco years ago with friends just out of high school. We were driving through San Francisco, 26 lights we caught in a row that were green. In San Francisco.
Cool. That's wicked cool.
So that shit is that's some legit like fun, like fucking yeah, like when you can get that timing, when you can get that spacing and you can project just at the right like and you connect to the moment.
Right.
And in that connection, what are the other insights that you gain? You gain that connection to what is the light that is green, right?
Yeah.
There was a chaos magician that I knew years ago also that would he self-tattooed his index finger with a green lightning ring. Right, like the Green Lantern ring. And so he's like, yeah, I just loved the story. I loved the plot line. He hated the fucking movie. Who didn't hate the movie? Like, Ryan Reynolds even hates the fucking movie. Like, that was great. Correct the storyline. But it was fun because he didn't know the principles of chaos magic and how you could channel energy from different things.
Yeah.
So he was using his tattoo so I taught him how to use his tattoo as a focus. So he was able to project into that green, like connect from that energy of the green, like wherever there was any green artificial light, he could connect to that energy with.
Okay.
So that was a lot of fun with those meditations and stuff because you're sitting there at the corner, it's fucking snowing, and there's a green light that changes, and he's like, insight, and then he's like, he goes into state for like 30 seconds or something just during that flash. And it was really cool because he was able to connect to all lights that were green in the moment.
Yeah.
And you could see glimpses of like imprints of what happened at the stop sign, at that stoplight in the past.
Right.
He was able to read through the different layers of that shit with the lights that he's connecting to in those psychic intuitions of learning chaos magic in cities.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, besides my, I guess the blinking, I've also done telepathy readings for friends. I ran into this lady that was living in a crack alley over on the west side of my town. And I just touched her palm one day, and she had to check like to get a second opinion. And the weird thing is I never met this woman my entire life, and I predicted that her uncle was going to pass away. And she called her family, and she said, "Yes, he's in the hospital. He's dying."
Oh wow!
And so I was strange because all I was doing was walking around town trying to get some bud.
I know that struggle.
I ain't got to walk around town no more.
I go to stores now. I don't do it in public anymore. Just too much of a hassle.
Yeah, the dispensaries. I like the, Speedy Weedy. Gotta give him props, man. Like having your dealer on speed dial is the same as it ever was. It's just fucking legit. They'll come to you. Like
Right.
it's just legitimized the normal job. Like
And my favorite is the destination Highway 420.
okay.
They have some really badass deals.
Oh, that's cool.
We just have. There's a couple up here. Like we have jars. We have 420, which is Dort Highway. Lighten Up. There's a bunch of them. We go out to this place. I think it's called Freddy's out in Clio. It's nice.
Okay.
It'd be interesting to figure out how could we get dispensaries to do some of the stuff we want to do. We broke enough weed for it. Fuck.
Right. It's
Yeah.
it's also I lived in an apartment building that used to be a hospital, and one night I heard some chuckling, and so it was like children playing in the hallway, and then I heard some whispering coming from the hallway, which was a stairwell to the outside of the building, and all of a sudden I look through the roof access door, and I told the landlord I had to move because I saw some glowing red eyes, and the face was just hideous, and I scared myself so much I shit myself. And it was the first time I ever saw something paranormal, but then afterwards I just got used to it. I never got scared anymore.
Yeah.
It's like I could talk to spirits. I could sense them. I can't see them, but I could sense them. I could talk to them, and they talk back. But some of them are real assholes.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
Like I have 12 in my apartment, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm in my bedroom, and this is basically my living room.
That's about yeah.
But yeah,
that's how it is for a lot of folks. I mean, that's one of those things is like, yeah, the nice big fancy houses with most entrepreneurs and those people that have, hit their lucky wins through social networking or religious circles or what have you, right?
yeah.
Whereas there are people that are, like I was saying with my coworker, right? Like everybody's one paycheck away from being really fucked. So this is the condition of life, is like, how do you cram an entire full life of everything into a limited amount of space, and what stuff you have becomes sacred, becomes the magic, becomes part of that. Well, this is what I have, so this is the magic that I have.
Okay.
Right? This is it again, it's the shopkeeper shit. It's that, okay, well, this is the stuff that you're doing and you're incorporating and in infusing into your day-to-day life. Well, you've got a bunch of magical implements around you that are the tools of your day-to-day life. Like they help, that it's the clothes that keep you warm, it's the stuff that keeps you occupied, it's the it's the things you give your focus are where your energy and your magic flow into.
Okay.
It absorbs it. This is chaos magic. All your shit is magic, right? So it doesn't have to be like the sacred talisman blessed under the blood moon of 5 or 6 seconds ago. Like whatever the situation is, you can incorporate that kind of power into everything you own.
Yeah.
Right. And
yeah. If you look from time to time, if you look in my bedroom, you might be able to see orbs, because I have my uncles like right behind me to the right here.
Yeah.
From time to time he visits, and on this side my grandma shows up, And in the living room, I've got like I've got 8 orbs, but they seem very like closed off. I think they're very fearful.
What makes you say that?
I think this apartment years ago it was a home of domestic violence because when I moved in there was holes in the wall.
Oh shit.
And it's like I'm a survivor of attempted murder myself. I was raped and almost murdered here in this very apartment.
And you're still there.
That's my way of showing I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to let them win, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's no bueno. There was a motherfucker that yeah. I get it, man. And you get put back into that moment and it's like, oh, recollection. Oh, not going there.
Yeah. That's why my bedroom that I first moved into the apartment, that's my storage room. Because I have PTSD moments where I can't go into my own old bedroom.
Right.
So
that happens.
Yeah.
That happens. And that's where rituals of cleansing, that's where creating different situations and different rituals around those entries into space. Right? What do we want that space to become? Well, if you're having PTSD moments because you're trapped in the energy that's an imprint of that time place, there are methods of recapitulation that you could do when you're strong enough that will allow you to reinforce the shadow work that you're doing or use it as a gateway into different dimensional spaces where you can rewrite the narrative of the thing that you needed to do in order to be able to survive and prove your own need for life.
Yeah.
Because you survived it, right? Like I had PTSD going into a cemetery where I used to do work because that's where I got raped, right? I won't go to Denver again because there's places in that city where there was a motherfucker that put his hands on my throat and said, I'm only alive because you wished it, right? Like those are the kinds of things where we get to channel that rage, that power of holy shit, we got to feel like we're going to survive this.
Yeah. So I call myself a survivor or a warrior. I don't call myself a victim. I don't like the victim mentality.
I don't either. I'm not a fan of. There is a time and place for the grieving of it. Like holy shit! Like you were in a situation where you had to grieve that aspect and you had to accept the situation as it is.
Yeah.
But like with what the Divine Sorcerer has been going through, instead of having that become an abuse story and a victim mentality, it was a rally cry for I'm going after the goddamn state.
Way to go.
Yes. Well, they I guess people don't know, but they I grew my own medicine being a witch, and we're not we're ranked like 66 out of the 67 counties for the worst healthcare. So I started to grow my own medicine, marijuana. There's only a couple plants, What I did was I left my daughter and her boyfriend move in, and didn't work out. He got violent with my daughter. I kicked him out, and he turned me into the cops.
Wow.
So we went through a year's battle. They tried to get me with PWID, possession with the intent to distribute. And I told them, I said, find one person. I don't sell pot. I use it all medical. I use it. Well, the whole year went by. They couldn't find nobody. So they did charge me for the possession of paraphernalia. Because here in Pennsylvania, you can't put a flame to a bowl.
Yeah, the good thing here in Washington is it was legalized here in 2014. But still, if you grow and try to sell it, you can be arrested for it.
That's what I like about Michigan. No, you can't sell it without a license, but if you have the proof that you are a caregiver, you could have more than the 12 plants allotted.
Yeah. Because they allow 14 plants. You can grow 14 plants here in Washington.
What they're not understanding, though, and nobody's taking the time to think, they're coming in here and extorting medical patients like myself. Extorting, you heard me right, guys. That's exactly what I said, extorting.
Mm-hmm.
People like myself who needed to actually live on, all for the greediness of themselves. Like the cops didn't care whether I had a medical marijuana license. All they thought was, oh man, big drug bust. You know?
Yeah.
They need to. My whole thing is they need to retrain the cops in knowing that it's not a crime. You know, just because you smoke marijuana, you know, for your pain or your nausea or whatever,
Yeah.
doesn't make you a criminal. Just because you grow it because you can't afford to go to the dispensary and pay the outrageous price does not make you a criminal.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm fighting here in Pennsylvania. Somebody just fucking listen to me. I've emailed the governor. I've emailed the state representatives. Pretty soon I'm going to show up at the door. They're going to have no chance but to talk to me. So
Yeah.
I'm getting a little antsy. Like, I'm not scared of these people. I will show up to their office like, me, you need to talk right now. I'm here on the behalf of the people. You're going to listen to me. Like, I'm not, no. I am the divine sorcerer.
You know, it's funny. You want to hear a background story?
Please.
You know, the first time I met Michael, I was on Facebook, and I didn't even know he was in any of the witch groups.
Oh, yeah?
Actually, I've been, I think, on 3 profiles with Michael.
Yeah.
Of my profiles.
profiles.
And
That's fun.
so he's groovy dude.
He
I love
is.
it, bro.
He
I
is.
love it, bro. Groovy.
It's been such a blast to work with Mike. The last year, it's the amount of patience and always working to be better. You know, he's the living embodiment of what that aim and that pursuit looks like.
Yeah.
And that's what's really fucking cool. Is like he's walking the walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's right. I try to be a positive outlook for other people. Let other people know. Look, I've been I was a 20-year drug addict. Like I've been through the coke scene for 25 years. Like I've been through the whole rowdy phase. Like I got a criminal record. I am a felon. Like I'm not gonna hide that shit. Like I was a bad person at one time, but at one time too, after being in and out of jail and beating people to fuck up and just being me, there comes a time when you want better. You just want better. I was seeing the way I was starting to awaken, as people would say. I was seeing the corruption. I was seeing the greediness. I was seeing the tyrants. Like you're not safe anymore. And it's just I took my life into my own hands. I worried about my own health. I did my own deal. You know what I mean? I got off all that poison. I lost a lot of weight. I turned my life around and I came out of the damn religion and indoctrination. And I started to understand the powers that I had, the energies that we work with. And to where the point where I started to mold my own life. This is my journey. And as you see, magic, following the ways of King Solomon, practicing Aleister Crowley's magic, like it's all playing a role in my life. For the better. Like, Brian will tell you many days we've spent doing tarot cards and just bullshit. And there's a reason I do my tarot cards every morning, guys. Like, for a year and a half, Brian will tell you them tarot cards steered me.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter whether we were online in a Zoom meeting for 18 hours or, 2 hours. Like, Brian was there. He's a good guy. He's a great instructor. Great instructor.
Yeah, when I first entered the Brotherhood, I don't remember if it was anybody who invited me, but I think the main reason I didn't post was because I like memes, and the Brotherhood don't allow memes.
Right.
Really? I don't post
We don't allow memes.
Yeah, they don't. They don't. There's no memes allowed. Like it's all content, or it's all people's questions, or. I stopped posting in there. I need to get back in there.
I love the videos, though. I do comment on the videos when I see Brotherhood videos.
Yeah. I'm not getting the notifications for it.
Me neither.
And I was. It was like right here.
Ooh, those are pretty.
Let me see that. Ooh, I like the first one.
That's neat.
Yeah.
And see, in the Brotherhood, many people asked me about my rings and if I could show it, and I was never able to show it. And so, if this is seen in the Brotherhood, now it can be seen.
Yay! We'll have to share it into the Brotherhood after off the
Yeah.
Facebook page we're
I
streaming.
like that first ring, man.
That's neat, man.
Yeah, thank you. And
Fun.
I need to
I
get
can't-
more rings myself because I have a total of 24 rings, but I don't wear them all.
Oh wow.
We're showing rings. Yay.
Come on, Evan Star. Come on, Evan Star.
That's fun. That's fun.
There you go, bud.
That's great.
Brian likes this little ring right here.
That
That's-
I do
that's
not like. I think that is an abomination unto Nuggin. If anybody follows Terry Pratchett, that's no. I really think that ring is a horrible piece of history. But yeah, I have mixed feelings about that, and it's not.
Yeah, I bought this one because it has ties to my my native heritage, and these two I bought because it reminded me of my survival of seeing the Grim Reaper and actually beating him.
Neat. What
And
was that experience like?
it was like he came. He said, "Well, I'm gonna come get you. You're gonna die." And I says, "No, that's not gonna happen." And I think it was when I was born, I had umbilical asphyxia,
Okay.
and I did pass away, but fortunately, I saw I guess what you would call them, the paddles, and it took them about 10 minutes to revive me, but I was about ready to run to the light and see Valhalla, but I guess the paddles brought me back.
They'll do that.
And
Bastard.
I wanted to see Odin. I wanted to say hi.
Right.
You know, but Odin says, no, it's not your time, but we welcome you here when it is your time.
That's good.
Show up to drink some mead.
So what I need to do is I need to get myself some minced meat and make myself a beverage.
So I got to get another bottle of mead here and fucking do a toast for Mimir. He's the one I've been. Yeah, that's a thing. So, yay for the old things that exist on the fringes of consciousness.
Right?
Still gonna do more research on Mamu.
Yeah. So, get this, right? Omenstar did some shit the other day. Please talk a little bit about that. Like, catch folks up on what it is that you've been going through as a response to like the adventure of the dream and what you're becoming as you did that conjuration.
So earlier in our talks, we were talking about, our past. And in my past, I used to have this habit of passing out in class and automatic writing. As well as talking in my sleep. So we were talking about if we could refine that and be able to bring that back, how would we do so? Well, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was trying to go to sleep. I was tired. And as soon as I'm going from lucid into REM, I hear I call thee forth, and I snap awake. So it was as if somebody else was calling me, is how I feel. Something called out to me to wake up. And just next thing I know, I'm looking up, okay, well, I want to look up this automatic writing. No, it hasn't been talked about much since. It's just been, on the back burner. So I guess something decided to reach out. It was like, hey, you need to focus on this now. So I start looking up. I try looking up, okay, God's list of gods to deal with dreams and prophecy. Nothing. Just a bunch of bullshit. Okay. So I refined it. All right, let's look for Roman. Let's look for Greek. Let's look for Sumerian. I decided to look for Sumerian first, and something caught my eye. I was like, okay, Utu, which is the Mesopotamian sun god, had a daughter, Mamu,
Mhm.
also known as Utu of Dreams. She was able to bring messages through dreams. She was able to give prophetic dreams and all that other stuff. So I decided, okay, in this conjuration, let's call from the dream sphere, the sphere of dreams, where all that stuff that could be or is, where I do believe we draw from when we want to create stuff like magic cards, making their abilities real, or to say if we like the idea of the shadow realm from Yu-Gi-Oh, like
Yeah.
that all comes from something, right? That imaginatory plane, the dream sphere.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, who better to call? What's up?
Do you mind if I share that conjuration while you're talking?
Yes, go ahead. I call forth from the dream sphere. Right. So the dream sphere, where all things are. And that's where we draw from into this reality, those which other people would consider imaginative.
Okay.
Because in dreams, everything feels real.
Yeah.
Right. And so this touches on parts of the infinite magics that we talk about, right? So we pull from the infinite. Well, what is the infinite? In this case, it is the dream sphere. It is the dreamscape. And these are ways that you can access that. Like there's 9 different types of dreams with the Greek magic. There's different gates, different ways to access pathways into Greek dream magic. But the Sumerian stuff that's being developed or recultivated through gnosis, right? Through the personal gnosis, that what Omenstar is doing, he's basically saying, all right, I'm going to go for it. By the bond, remember, right? So the dinger is the bond of the oath sworn between the gods and the race of men so that they would be there at the time of calling.
Okay.
Right? So to be there at the time of calling when he's approaching the gates, he's gone through the rites and the gates already. So at the hour in the morning beforehand, he's gone through calling the 7 gates so that he can prepare his body. He can start preparing his life's journey for the rite of transformation that he's about to undergo. Right. So when he takes that next step with his personal initiations, he's going to be able to do that right in one swell swoop, and boom, there it is. Right.
Yeah.
And that's very cool.
I wasn't ready for it. All right. I feel that I wasn't ready for the conjuration. The conjuration somehow came first. And the conjuration had a effect. I was sick shortly after, a couple hours after. So I wrote the conjuration around, I think, what was it? 3-4 o'clock in the morning. By 5:30 a.m., I was in the bathroom with Hershey squirts.
No.
So it's that same kind of interactive thing that we were talking about earlier. Direct correlation to that first interaction with real spirit work. Like, it ain't going to make you shit yourself. Like, with like those brown trouser day guys, like, just be prepared.
Oh yeah, and then out of nowhere, I'm taking care of getting everything ready for my kids. I just start throwing up. My body started to cleanse itself because the spirit didn't deem how my body was good enough. So it decided, here's a little push. And so to prevent that, I'm going to, a day of fasting, the day before, only rice, chicken, shrimp, fish, whatever, you know. Or look up some Sumerian. There was a cake that they used to leave as offerings. I might see if I can't find a recipe for that. Um, that way, there's something to appease. There's as well as proper cleansing, proper um, prep, making sure I have everything I need.
That leads into the new things that I wanted to show off for like what's coming for what will be on the books. So there's the Enuma Elish.
Yes.
All right. And there's the Learn to Read Sumerian.
Yes. Both great books, guys. Both great books.
Guys, come on, like read a fucking book. No.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, seriously.
into this, there are exercises.
Rainbow.
There will be applications where you will have that preparation. So as you do this thing, you're doing this, right?
Right.
But the way sorcery works is you do it first, and then you spend the rest of your goddamn life learning why it worked.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Like physics. What we do in magic, moments of magic shape our lives. Moments of boom, there was something.
I'm still trying to figure out how I got the guy's ankle to heal. I was in the 5th grade. Guy fell down, twisted his ankle. I had just started, and I had no clue what I was doing. So I put my hands, I cup it over the ankle, and I'm all I could do is heal, heal, heal. And in my head, just, next thing I know, he pops up and starts running. I'm all right, good. I still don't get how it worked. So I roll with it. All right, well, it worked. It's not gonna always work if I don't figure it out, but it has to be. I guess for me, it was in the moment. I wanted it so bad to happen that it found a pathway.
Right.
So it's about finding the proper channels and how to use those channels.
Right. And recognizing them when they come up. But the problem is that because of the way that culture is today, there isn't a dialogue that allows us to have this conversation where we don't sound nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Because when these moments of occurrence occur, like being in synchronous application with your thoughts and the light pattern of the thoughts of the traffic light being in sync, those at the quantum level, that light particle was in your head and over there, it was over here, it was over there, and boom, the lights are changing. Like directed thought. It guided those principles, right? Like you can do that and you can break it down at a quantum level of like, okay, well, we're light particles. Our thoughts aren't just in our own body. They're in all the light that exists around us simultaneously as it exists as our consciousness, right? We're just a mouthpiece for the vibration and the frequencies and all the rhythms of all the things and all the crazy shit that we do. And magic happens. How we record that, how we react to that. Is it something that's benevolent? Is it something that's good for us, good for our environment, good for the people around us? Or is it crap for us or crap for our environment? Or we did something wrong where it fell apart and just didn't do the thing we needed it to do.
Right. Mm. Yeah.
That becomes the struggle is like, okay, well, what systems are you reinforcing your spells with? What mechanics are you using to underpin the magic that you do? And you can't teach magic on a normative curriculum. You can't have a lesson plan that teaches real magic, in my opinion. It has to be done by the will of the individual who is seeking to pursue it.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way, entrepreneurship and the business cultivation and the shopkeeper shit, you have to pursue precision.
Yeah.
In the same way, you have to be guided by a love that is outside of the tedium that precision creates.
Like with me and magic, I went to jail over some stupid shit, and I decided, all right, well, I don't want to be here because my ADHD drives me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing to do. So I was like, well, I'm gonna just go jump into music because it was something I always wanted to do, and I feel I could do well at. and that's kept me out of trouble thus far.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I think I had some bad luck myself with the jail thing. It seemed like the cops where I'm from, they would hassle me like every 7 years because of my family name in my county. My family name is well hated
Mm.
because
That's
we have a history of being in gangs,
Mm.
and we also have a history of violence. But I've never intentionally been violent or in a gang. But yet I guess they wanted to make an example out of me. So it was mainly because my brother, he's a neo-Nazi.
That sucks.
And I guess with his history in jail, they just don't like my name. And I guess he's on my timeline if you guys want to see the pinned comment.
And I didn't forget about you yet either.
But yeah, there was a drag queen event down there in Tennessee, and I guess he was involved in the neo-Nazi hate crime movement of the
That sucks.
yeah.
That sucks. Too bad you
Yeah.
couldn't figure out a way to wrangle that bullshit. Keep it
Yeah.
from spreading. Like, that's unfortunate. That kind of hate is not cool. I mean, again, is like my friends are trans, my employer is trans. Like, there are folks on different spectrums of expression of themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and it's perfectly natural expressions of the vibration of the infinite. How fucking dare they?
I
Right.
need to finally come up with a way to word things for like my friends, because my friends be like, "Why do you hate so much?" I finally found a way. It's not me hating on people. I just have a very nihilistic humor.
Yeah, me being LGBT, I think that was the reason why I had the hate crimes happen to me.
Mm. I mean, I've had people pull their children away from me on marches. I'm not gonna lie. It sucks. Like up here in Michigan, it's really churchy. There's a lot of churches around. For as many lakes as we have, that you'd figure we'd have a bit more more witches, but the church manages to keep us down up here.
That's where that guy lives that I used to pick on.
Yes,
Are you in Flint, Michigan?
I am.
Yeah, there's a guy that lives there somewhere. His name's Dave. What the hell was his name? Dave Zacher. David Zacher. Pastor David Zacher. We get on him all the time.
I'm gonna have to look him up and say, "Hey, Mike says hi."
When he knew me, I was a Christian pastor, and then I went from being a Christian pastor into learning Judaism, learning the Hebraic alphabet, which ultimately led me into King Solomon and then into sorcery. But when I switched over into Judaism and started to learn the first beginning of the book, I'd go in there and tell him how his last ending of the book was full of shit. I was like, your Messiah is fake. You worship a fake fucking God. Why do you think the Jewish people don't believe in your Jeebus?
See, when people ask me, "Well, do you believe in Jesus?" I believe that Jesus was a man who once
was a figure of him.
He probably went through all these mysticism trainings.
I'll tell you, look, I researched all of it. The Christianity, the Judaism, the whole fucking genealogy of the Hebrews. I got a channel here on YouTube from religion. What is it? Out of religion? From religion to agnostic, I think it is. From religion to agnostic. But anyway, there was a Jesus figure. Okay, Constantine couldn't pronounce. They couldn't take the yod and transform it into the regular English alphabet. They couldn't go from the Y to the J. In Hebrew, though, there is a figure named Yeshua ben Nun, who they mistake as this Jesus. This Yeshua ben Nun, he was a nomad. He lived out in the desert, learning from other nomads who were magi and druids and things like that. So yes, there was a figure, but it's not as the Christian Bible tells you. Most of that Christian Bible is symbolism. It's centered around symbolism, like the whole 12 apostles and stuff. That's the 12 constellations and the sun. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's all, people don't understand that. Like, yes, there were the Hebrews, but do you guys not realize that it goes way back before the Hebrews, and those that win wars write their own history? So, like, look at the way the Bible's put together, because when you look at the beginning of the book and you look at the Torah and the Tanakh, you know, like, they got the whole documentary hypothesis where you have the priestly writings, the Psalms, and then the Levitical writings. Like, they were all pieced together and then redacted. Like, that, if this was from a real God, why would he need humans to do this? And why would there be a lot of adding and redacting? Like, it's just a bunch of mumbo jumbo bullshit. Like, I died already. I'm telling you. Like, I didn't see no heaven and no hell. Like, you know, not that there ain't maybe one like the Egyptians talk about, like a realm of the dead, like the afterworld, like, you know, a place you go to transition before you go to get reincarnated again or something. But you know, let me tell you, I've touched both sides. It's not like you think. Like, that's what draws me so close to the paranormal and what I do now. Because when I did die, like, I floated above my body. Like, I watched, like, as I was floating above, I watched the nurses go around and fucking freak out. I watched my wife fall out, my ex-wife fall out the door. I watched the doctor fucking, like, the doctor's face, dude, was just like, all the color went out of his face. Like, he was just white. Like, because I had a heartbeat and then, like, nothing. And he's screaming for crash cards, and like, nurses are running. And I'm, the whole time, I'm just floating above my bed thinking, well, now this is really cool. What's going on? I have no fear. I have no pain. No, like, there's just a sense of calmness, like this warm calmness. And like, I'm realizing what's going on. And then all of a sudden I went from like the top of the room and everything got dark. And it was like I shot right back into my body. I woke up and I got this doctor over me. He's like, do you know your name? Do you know what time it is? Do you know the date? And I'm like, dude, wait, man, I got to process what the hell I just did. Like, what the hell just happened?
I mean, I've never had one, like, never died, but I've had what do I call, berserker moments where I've been knocked unconscious, but still, you know, when I wake up, I'm in a fighting stance and nobody's in front of me.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I've been, people have said, I was watching you fall. You were nearly hitting the ground, and then you shift your feet and you're standing, and you're just standing there. I wonder what would happen if someone did stick around to engage that. I don't know if I would want to know the ending of that.
Right.
So I've been lucky thus far, but it was still like, to hear you're not finished yet and to feel a hand on my shoulder push me up. Like, being on, I guess being knocked out, like, it puts you on that edge of not fully passed out, but not fully concussed. Yeah. Being concussed gives you that not fully passed out, but not fully awake feeling. So it's like you're in between worlds.
Yeah, you can do that with breath play and sex too. Just don't be, you know, breath play is bad. Consensual breath play with intelligent players is one of those things. But to be on the edge of death intentionally is that Satori state that we were talking about, is that edge of illumination. Is like, without knowing the limits of where your body stops and where your life stops, and that thread of like, no, motherfucker, I'm gonna live until you know life. Right? You only know life through death.
Right.
Like, that will to live. Like, what are you willing to survive through?
Oh, you
Right?
mean like me walking 24 freaking plus miles yesterday because I had no phone, no way to contact anybody. It was life or death. I had to make a split-second decision. Do I continue moving forward into a place where I know somebody can give me a ride, or do I go and make sure my girlfriend knows I'm okay? I walked the 12 miles back home. Well, not back home, to her work. From where I was, because it was 12 miles. I was 12 miles. I ended up okay, I thought I was going down one road, and it wasn't that road.
Ferry transit.
And
You're
I ended
off in
up
your own thoughts, out in nature, doing nature things, and then you're off on a journey, and then fuck all where you are.
pretty much. And by the time I realized something wasn't right, I go to pull up my phone, and as soon as I go to make some sort of hey, I need help, it dies. And I couldn't use the emergency charge because it was too cold. My phone got too cold. I managed to make it to a place where the cities would interject, so two main roads, and I'm like, okay, I'm blowing on my phone, I'm rubbing on it. I get 4% charge. I send 2 voice clips letting them know, hey, I fucked up. I'll be home as soon as I can.
Right.
That's good.
I'm still feeling it. Like my foot hurts every time I step on it. My right calf's like, I hate you, and my body's not happy right now. It's been a while since I've done something like that, and most of the times when I do something like that, I have a bike.
Jesus. So, story time. I had to walk from Napa to Santa Rosa for probation meeting one night. Over a fucking mountain in the middle of the goddamn night. The only redeeming feature was I knew where the fuck I was. But that was like a 45 mile. I'm double checking it was a 45-minute by car. Yeah, distance of around 45 miles from Santa Rosa to Napa, where I went. Up and over a goddamn mountain.
I would have left a flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like it was up and over the mountain, and it's like, no, that was one of those where you're out in nature doing nature things, and you'll end up where you need to be. Like you found what you needed to find out on your adventure, and you'll be able to experience energies that you wouldn't otherwise have had access to had you not made that journey. But again, we have to make sure that you do so in a safe environment, in a safe kind of way. When there are certain conditions to the friends that I have, right? Like they're Native American, so they have different rules on the reservation of what they're allowed to have and what they're not allowed to have. Right? So for my friends, it's okay. For us, it's a no-no. And that's tribal restrictions, and that's that sort of thing that goes unmentioned as aspects of the craft. In order to be able to protect oneself and one's practice and the secrecies required to engage safely in one's own activity.
If I had the knowledge, I'd be able to, because my grandmother did get us accepted back into the tribe.
That's great.
But that was like a while ago. That was a long time ago. My mom never taught me anything about my Native American history, none of my Mexican history. She wanted me to believe that I was as white as I look. She wanted me to believe magic wasn't real. She completely cut it all out of life.
That sucks.
And whereas her mother has done spells, my aunt, my uncle, everyone in my family does practice some form of magic besides my mom. Well, she does. It's just manipulation of people. But she doesn't realize that it's magic. She just realized she gets what
Yeah.
So, what's the journey that your friends are on? That you were saying that you've got the friends that you're talking to that want to get into sorcery, that want to get into this kind of path. What kind of journey are they on?
With me, I think the youngins that are like teenagers or in their 20s, I think they are they're coming into their own. They know that they were born with it, but their parents always told them that they don't know what they're talking about, that it doesn't exist, it's not real, it's all in your head. And basically they wanted to come join the circle and they also wanted to join the sorcery school, and
Cool.
they wanted to do it away from their parents because basically, like my parents, they always tell people, you need to be in church, you need God in your life. And I was like, well, you know what? This is my life. I'll do with it what I want. You don't like it? Tough. And I always told them, if I want to join the path of joining the craft and being a witch, that's my choice. And it's my life. You might have brought me into this world, but that's my life.
Right.
And so hopefully they join the group because I have them on my timeline, and I'm going to be sending them invites.
Please do. I'd love to get a Zoom together with him. That way we can get Omenstar and Mike and Daniel and Tobias and everybody else and Doc that's all working on the back end of our community that's come together to really make this a really fun experience, to be able to apply these lessons so that you don't have to do witchcraft alone. You don't have to get into the practice in isolation. You can get into the practice with folks that understand this shit. They come from a much damage or different damage, but still damage. Like there's still an experience of death. There's still an experience of violation. There's still an experience where the soul had to be tested.
Yeah.
That's like my friend who is just now starting to get back into the craft. I told her, well, all right, you're experiencing all this. Okay. Well, here's a bunch of shielding techniques. Work on this first.
Yeah.
Because what first thing you're going to need to do is learn how to defend yourself. Okay, well, I don't want this to happen. How do I make sure it doesn't?
Right. And that's hardwire yourself into a greater energy than the thing that's attacking you.
So I took pictures of all the defense stuff out of the Grimoire of Arts. I was like, here you go, work on this stuff.
Yeah. The most important things that she could do in the Grimoire of Arts, or they could do in the Grimoire of Arts, would be to do the gate walkings. Because that changes the flavor of their energy. That changes the flavor of who they are, because their soul experiences that energy for the intermediate attachment of that gate. Like once you do the 4-in-1 spell, the gate seals, that alone creates a barrier between you and your understanding of what that energy is, that you allow yourself to feel and not feel based on that seal that you feel in the moment you created the first time. So you're calling on recollected energy, and you're creating a channel for that through your practice. And you start it as early as you can, so that way when you don't have shields, where do they come from? Well, here's a way to create it. Right? Is you do the 4-in-1 by the whole like above and below, and then switch it around and come forth and exist and present, that whole thing. Like you're carving into your auric field that spice, that pocket in that direction for that elemental flow. And so when you have that running through your body and you have that in that moment, that creates a shell around you where only that energy is in your awareness. So everything else gets burned off.
Yeah.
I mean, I also I have marked in the grimoire the shadow work, the shadow magic. That's I'm gonna start working on the base. I started working on the basics of that from what I could remember was hover the hand over the shadow, and all that.
Right. Now the trick with shadow magic and the way that I do it, right? Shadows aren't evil. Get that out of your head first. This is not evil magic. Okay, this is where the environment that you live in is a physical expression of the life frequency that you're living. If you're not in a space where you're safe, the shadows are your place of refuge, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to want to be in them. You have to want to be there more than you want to be in the world around you, right? And so you can connect to that gateway using that liminal space of where is and where is not.
And that's what I was working on. I was just being able to connect with it first, making that first initial connection. I wasn't able to do it because of the urgency of trying to move forward.
Right.
But I at least, I'm working on the Okay, there's plenty of sun. I'm in the sun. Let's see here as I'm taking my rest. All right, give some. Okay, now move forward. So it was little bits at a time, but that's what I was working on was the basics.
But see, the thing is, the benefit you guys get of working with things like the Grimoire of Arts, right, is that took me 10 years to compile. What you guys do in a matter of hours took me a decade to learn.
Yeah.
What you guys are learning with me in these chats for an hour and a half, 2-3 hours, this is 23 years of practice to be able to describe these things. This is interacting with others. This is interacting with the community, not necessarily in good ways always, but it's interaction.
Right. And I feel lucky because I'm young and I'm, still working at it and going through my beginning steps of my life journey.
All right.
And so it's nice to have an experience to go off of.
Right. And but again, that goes back to, as sorcerers, what we experience is what we pull lessons from. We don't learn it in traditional ways. You can't teach sorcery like, oh, I'm going to teach you this spell today. Well, why do you fucking need it?
Right.
But if you want to connect to a goddamn dream entity, I call thee forth. What?
It's like,
Fucking worked, didn't it?
It did. And
And
next
then-
time, I still need to figure out. I've tried looking. I can't seem to find it, but I can't find her planetary alignment anywhere.
It's going to be in the letters of the word that was spelled in her name. The UT or the MAMU?
Yeah, MAMU, Mamu, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be in the application of the letters and the name, the cuneiform associations to that.
Okay.
So it's going to be in the cartography representations of what those letters look like, what those shapes look like. There's differences in how that comes together with Sumerian magic.
Okay.
Because the lettering structure of that energy, they call it a god. It's a vibration, right? These are ancestors that were able to connect to these things, and they called it this name because that's all they had for it, because that's the best way that they could articulate it. So they're channeling the energies of MAMU, and that is what they get when they put all the things together, and boom, there's this interaction with the dream psychic scape. So it not necessarily is an entity of intelligence itself. It's the conditional state in which you experience that shift of reality.
I mean, her and her husband apparently are called forth as witnesses on multiple, in certain cities. They've been, apparently she has something to do with the creation myth as well of the Sumerians. She helped create man. So it's like, I'm slowly like sourcing and looking for, okay, does this make sense? And now I'm going to double source back. Can I find something similar somewhere else? Because if it's in multiple works, it's going to be, well, let's
check out Babylonian Magic by Leonard King. That's a really good foundation. Also, another good Sumerian one. There's no really good Sumerian Assyriologists. Haven't put out enough stuff on the first language and the first spells. Not enough. Because that's what these were. This is the first example of human writing. This is the first spells ever created with Sumerian magic. And so to be able to rekindle what those gates are through viable psychological experiences, tapping into what is witchcraft correspondences from the old times, 500 or 600 years ago, to stuff that we can incorporate using modern techniques, modern understandings of quantum entanglement. So when they were smoking their peyote drugs or whatever it was back in the day in the shaman huts or what have you, if you do the same thing here and you recreate the rituals, what can you tell them now from back what was then, so that they can use that to influence the future here, so you can find elements of your thought patterns from them now, right? What correspondences that you can then entrain your story and your development to, so you have a reason to study, so you have a reason to go forward and focus.
Okay. I just gave myself a reading.
Yeah?
Ooh.
This is the mini cards. How fun.
It turned out really good. It said something about don't let yourself get caught up in confusion. Have a good week, and don't let what anybody tells you piss you off or bring you down. So
Good advice.
Good. Don't get brought down. No. This is elevation. Elevation, my friend. Elevation.
right.
Hi.
So, this is our higher selves talking to everybody as we sit and smoke. No.
Did somebody say smoke? Fuck, I'm always down for smoking.
Yeah, smoke it if you got it. So while we've got you here, right? What do you describe as witchcraft to you? Like, you're defending it as a way of life. You're defending your road to not have to go through church in order to gain through life, right? So can you go a little bit and talk about what your kind of witchcraft is?
Well, to me, I think when I first felt that I had what most people call powers from Satan, I just call it my own inner self, and I knew I was able to read people like psychically. I knew I was able to like conjure, and I didn't even read books until I was in my 20s, and then I came out of the closet as being a witch. I think it was in '91, and I had like probably 100 books on witchcraft. It was like the encyclopedia, the book of spells, and everything under the sun. But basically, somebody that was a tweaker befriended me and faked that they were my friend, and they came over to my house and robbed me.
Oh, that sucks.
And basically, every book that I had, they stole, and they sold it for tweak, and they didn't even know how much the books were worth, so they only got like maybe $100 for the books. I paid like $1,500 for those books. Basically, what I did when I saw the person next, I basically casted a binding spell on him, and that I never seen him again, which is a good thing.
That is good. That's hard, man.
Yeah, see, I would have casted Binding Fist.
There you go. There you go.
But that leads to bad places. So normally,
Oops.
except
Speaking of bad places, he fell into the internet hole.
There you go.
Okay. But I tend to just accept it as they needed it a bit more than I did, I guess.
Yeah.
I've done a binding spell. I had to do one on that guy that turned me in.
No. That thing turned out beautifully, though.
Did it not? Man, that thing was awesome. I mean, guys, I'm telling you, talking about watching shit work, man.
Mm-hmm.
I did that thing, man, and it was like within days, my daughter's like, yep, he's in jail again.
Yeah.
All right.
I think the funny thing is a lot of people say that I'm a collector because I have movies that are like on things that nobody uses anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I have stories on witchcraft that date back to like 800 AD,
Nice.
and it's on VHS.
Do you have a VHS player, though?
I
Yeah,
was gonna say, do them things still exist? Like, I mean, that was like 20-some years, 30-some years. Like,
Yeah.
really?
Still play
and
it.
I still watch my VHS videos from time to time.
Holy moly!
Like, they need to bring those back. A
Like,
lot of things were lost with the transition from VHS to DVD.
They
mhm.
are. Um,
And it's funny that I can use my VHS because I have an HD TV and it's a flat screen.
Cool.
we definitely need to, like, if we could reach it, like, if we there's got to be some kind of way that we can use it for education where we don't have to pay an arm and a leg through copyright.
Mm-hmm.
Those kinds of videos, that kind of documentation, to be able to preserve that. And, like, even if it's just the three of us, we haven't seen the content that you're talking about, but maybe we can glean something from it. We can incorporate what you're doing into our studies so we can save the pop culture.
Okay.
You know, it's like it comes and it goes, but this is the unspoken histories of witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is where witchcraft comes from. This is the shit in the books that gets written down or discovered because nobody was fucking paying attention. It's just like, oh, that's the spells in the corner from Crazy Aunt Gertrude. Motherfucking bitch was onto something.
Like,
Yeah.
that's why a lot of, like, that's why I hate, like, Llewellyn. Like, they will re-release books, but they will take out spells that they deemed were too powerful to be out in public in the first place.
Yeah. Buckland's book of candle burning magic, if you can track down the one from the 80s, his advanced ritual magics, there's 3 spells in it that Buckland designed to be able to facilitate the transition from life into death as someone was dying.
Oh, okay.
And they took those out because it was a death curse.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let me show you something.
It's like, it's the application of when is that the best use of that material. Holy shit, that is a stack.
That is a stack. Holy cow.
That's my VHS collection.
My granddad used to do shit like that. Do you have them alphabetized? Do you have, like, a catalog list of what you've got? That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And I have actually 5 boxes, you know, those plastic crates
Yeah,
full of VHS.
that's cool.
Yeah.
It's an
So
investment.
some people say I'm a hoarder, and I'm like, no, I'm a collector.
Well, back in the day when that was the entertainment, you know?
Yeah.
Fucking go to Blockbuster, rent the movies, or fucking buy your own, and it was cheaper if you liked the movie a lot.
Yeah,
You know?
because we know when Blockbuster was around, I actually had the VIP card.
That's awesome.
I miss Blockbuster.
Yeah.
There we go.
Family Video was the last one here in Michigan, I think, to get shut down. I think there's still a couple open.
Yeah.
No, streaming murdered all that. The rent the entertainment industry.
In the words of an old song, video killed the radio star.
Oh yeah,
Such a
love that
I
one.
love that song.
The internet killed the video store.
Right.
Exactly.
there's a rap you could write there, Fang. You get video kill, or the internet killed the radio store, or the video store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Murdered, slashed. It did a, like, I miss back when Netflix was a video store where it was just you order the DVDs.
Okay,
It was basically Redbox, man. Like,
Yeah.
I was working as a key holder for Suncoast back in the day, right? We were required to sell Netflix to every customer that came, like a goddamn credit card program. It's like, hey, do you want to sign up for 2 weeks free of Netflix? What the fuck is Netflix? Nobody's ever heard of Netflix. So it's just a video rental service. It's not going to be a thing. Like, don't fucking worry about it. Now they run the goddamn fucking entertainment industry.
Right.
Like, fuck.
Yeah.
and then when it did go into streaming, it did. And they had so many better deals. Then, of course, comes the fact of supply and demand. Too many people were demanding it, so they had to rise the prices.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard tell on one of the news channels somewhere that Netflix is ending its mail order DVD service, so it's no longer doing that.
Oh boy.
So it's only streaming now.
I didn't know they still did the DVD service.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still I see around my town, there is still red boxes, except there's a lot of vandals that are ruining it for everybody. So I think there's going to be a lot of red boxes removed.
That sucks. Redbox is
does
such a
suck.
great idea for like just cheap movies, like just like the crazy sequels you never expect to exist.
Right?
Right, they have all those nice, like, that's why I like Tubi. Tubi has a lot of those old movies.
Oh yeah.
Like,
That's-
they're also getting a lot of independent stuff. So, like, stuff like people like my favorite band who they put out movies that you're finding those. Their documentaries are on there. Like, you have Beastmaster,
Oh, I love that
Masters of
movie.
the Universe. I mean, it's awesome. I love that streaming service. And it's free with ads.
You know, it's like we got to do ads in order to be able to expand the reach of the academy, right? Like, as
Right.
part of what I have to account for is a marketing budget in order to be able to help us grow, so that the rates that we're going to charge for classes, for the products and services that we sell, it's going to get into ads, right? So it's like, where are we watching stuff? And so if we're already on Tubi, then that's a good place to maybe consider ad space.
Yeah.
You know, Hulu, Netflix, wherever we can. Like, okay, well, what can we get? Fuck, if we could get a Netflix special going on, like, okay, well, let's film a ritual magic camp for 6 months.
Well, Tubi has a lot of paranormal stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's that we could definitely try and contact Tubi and say about getting an original series set up.
Yeah. So Peyton wanted to go, and before he comes and goes, but the goal is, if we could do it, I'm still down to do it. I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to get everything with all the things that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
As we come together as a community with Mike and the Paranormal and his documentation of that, with the documentation needs that we're going to have for what Omenstar is getting up to with the fairs and the martial arts and the historical reenactment stuff, right? So
Mhm.
as we have these need for video content coming together as part of what we do, more and more things are building towards, okay, well, if we can rent out some ghost town, or we can go set up a temporary village somewhere, and we can film the shit out of the experiences that are going on. How many different stories, how many different dialogues can we get for everybody's story that's there at the time, so we create a singular movie experience that's this immersive epic that we could turn into, like, fucking, I don't know, something epic.
Body cams, just lots
that?
and lots of body cams.
Lots
Right.
of body cams, lots of, like,
Lots of IR
behind the
cameras.
scenes. What was that?
Lots of IR cameras.
Yeah, that'll be neat. That'll be neat. I got to figure out how to mount those cameras onto fucking glasses. Like, what's the IR camera? Like, what's the smallest IR camera that we can get?
I was gonna say, I'm sure you can get a small IR camera, or even there's a place I think out in Nevada. I'll have to look on my Facebook. A guy that'll actually put on the side of the glasses a little infrared camera.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be cool as fuck.
Or you could go
Yeah,
to like
gotta
some of the
figure out how to
spy
do
tech stores. Like,
Right.
surprisingly easily, you could buy a lot of spy tech online. Fairly
Right now, I have 4 IR cameras I just set up. They work. But it'd be nice to get smaller ones.
Yeah.
we could get a couple fisheye lenses, like say we're investigating a haunted house. Well, the fisheye lens isn't big and bulky and can't be moved around by ghosts or spirits. So put a fisheye lens there, put a fisheye lens there. You know, find the exact angle where it would need to be.
Right.
There we
And
go.
so, and this is where the Kinmindu Jia stuff comes in. This is where the feng shui concepts come in, of energy in space and movement of energy in space. As it moves through walls, as it moves through the materials that the walls are made out of, and the alchemy of the spaces it's put together in physical environment, right? Mm-hmm. Like the Witch of the Pacific Northwest was saying that 12 spirits in that house, right?
Mhm.
Well, okay, so line up north, and what happens if you film it at the north and you open the gate of the north? What happens if you do it at the gate of the northeast, right? Do those energies become more augmented in that time of calling, via what you're getting as a response of the paranormal camera, so that we can start using these ritual magics. We can start incorporating it into filmed content. We can start writing these fucking rituals. Like with the
I
Swords,
saw
it was
some
estimated
weird
to
shit
summoning.
last year. My friend had like cameras pointed at his porch, and a manifestation of a spirit with a hat pops out the light bulb, walks down the porch and around the house.
Mhm.
Right. I wish we could have been able to save that video, but it was live. He wasn't able to share it.
Mm.
But he still has that video, I do believe. I'm gonna see if we can't figure out a way to get a hold of that video.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I would like to one of these days go to Squim, because over there they have a video on YouTube where there was a Victorian built home that was turned into a bed and breakfast, and before it was turned into a bed and breakfast, it was a hotel. But before it was a hotel, it was actually somebody's estate.
Oh, wow.
And the funny thing is they actually caught a full floating apparition on video, and it was of a woman dressed in like a Victorian era dress.
Oh wow.
And the cool thing is it actually turned that hotel into a raving success,
That's cool.
because they say that there's guests there that hear her walking through the halls, and this is only at nighttime. But I don't believe in the spirits only coming out at night.
Of course not.
But
No, they'll do whatever they damn well feel like it.
yeah,
Those are more like echoes.
yeah,
They're exact same time, same place, everything. Those are spiritual echoes.
Right.
mhm. I think this woman though. I think the story behind it was she had a boyfriend that they were going to get married. She was pregnant, but I guess he cheated on her. She felt heartbroken, so she jumped out a window,
Damn.
and it was known as the lady in white. And up here in Washington, it's up there in Squim.
That's cool.
And
There's a lot of those types of stories you find everywhere. The whole lady in white story, like some people say just keep driving, do not stop.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, curiosity killed the cat. Satisfaction brought him back. I got to see where this goes. You know,
Right.
I'm gonna offer the ride.
You
like,
get off by a spirit, I'm gonna be pissed.
if I had a car, I'd offer her a ride.
right? See, like,
This
and this
is
is
what
why
you
we
just.
put a leash on Alex in the wild, because Alex will try and hug a grizzly bear.
I mean, those restraining vests for kids, like there are some adult applications where it is justifiable. No,
Ooh, look at the lion! No.
Yeah,
no, what the training though? If you see that shit in the wild, what happens if you've got a talisman of purification on you? What happens if you have something where you can just hold it up or do a spell instantaneously? All the right components are there, so all you have to do is just have the thing present, and boom, off it goes.
yeah,
Like
That would be
that's
some
the level of
shit.
preparation I'm trying to get you guys to work towards.
mm-hmm.
So that way you just have all your spells on tap, so you don't have to worry about like, oh, I have to prepare for like hours and hours and hours, do all the calculations and all these things. Once you do them once, you can replicate it and you can make it faster and you can get that done.
Yeah,
Like with my shielding technique, how I only need to say the last words, and
Right.
the sign. Okay.
The thing is, this goes back to at the level of progression that I'm trying to get you guys to reinforce is once you go through and you understand that you don't need to do the signs, you don't need to do the hand seals anymore, you don't need to do that.
mm-hmm.
What happens if you did and you don't need to do it? How much stronger is your shit going to be when you actually put that physical component in there?
Yeah,
And that is where the pro magic comes in. This is where taking client work. This is where getting paid to do witchcraft. This is where getting respect in the community that your stuff works.
Mm-hmm.
And it works time and time and time again. And it's reliable.
Mm-hmm.
Comes in. This is where the way that you deliver and the way that you present your magic,
Yeah.
and the way your magic presents itself comes in. So learning how to separate the energy from the intent, right? If you can do that, then being able to wash a feather that you're not supposed to have with water to take its virtues and its essence and leave it in the wild where you found it, and to be able to extract its spirit from that, and to be able to incorporate that spirit into your work, and to be able to have that just as viable as if the ingredient itself was there, or just as if that living animal was there and it was sacrificed to the work.
I mean, I could always put it in the grandmother tree.
In the first place.
Yeah.
I could always give it to the grandmother tree.
Exactly. That is an offering back to the forest.
There we go.
I haven't done much with it since I found it, so it just sits there next to where I plan to train everybody. Like it's going to be our overlook, pretty much.
That's outstanding. That's outstanding. You could also, like, if you wanted to do a union spell between the heaven and the earth, right? You can take feathers and you burn them down to ash, and you mix that with the dirt to make the dirt a union point of that. It's also good for lightning spells.
Okay.
Fulgurite is a good thing for lightning spells too. You ever hear of that stuff, Alex?
No. Well, actually, yeah. Fulgurite, yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any.
Remember that post I did in the Brotherhood of my stones?
Yeah.
Did you want to see them?
Ooh, those are pretty.
Okay.
Oh, this one I picked up on the ground yesterday. I was like, fuck it, you're going in my pocket.
Oh, God.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Buddy. Hell yeah. That's cool.
And then I got...
Oh, that's a nice formed quartz right there. That's cool.
Let's see, okay.
Ooh.
That's
And
neat.
you know what's weird is I actually find these on the beaches here in Washington.
That's awesome.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
No, I got
Ooh.
I couldn't show you them all unless there was enough time, but I don't, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also got
Cool. So with that one that you had, I believe it's the red jasper with the white stripes on it.
yeah.
Have you ever found enough of those to make a circle that connects the whole way around?
Yes.
I fucking love that kind of magic, man. That's so cool.
I've actually I had in my back room a table where I had the pinnacle, the candle in the middle, the candles one on each corner, and I had the stones I had put in the center, and it actually helped me to contact some spirit guides so I don't contact the wrong side and get my place possessed.
That's good.
And I was actually able to contact my grandmother.
Way cool.
A big rock yesterday. I plan on making birthing a spirit from it, and putting it. I'm gonna find another rock about the same size. Put one at the back entrance and one at the front entrance, so that my entrances via doorways and into the house have a spiritual guard.
That's
Okay.
awesome. There's a really cool thing that you can do. You know this principle of the inks and stuff that we're doing, right?
Mhm.
Well, if you use waterproof acrylic and you can mix it with the waters of the ingredients of the herbs or what have you, you boil the ingredients or whatever it is, and you add that as a water to the acrylics or the enamels, you can paint sigils and shit on those stones.
Yeah.
Waterproof seal that shit. And then
Okay.
you've got your magic sigil on the rock with the animated spirit on it, so it's out in nature with it.
Yeah.
There was a dude that did a blood seal was really annoying on the apartment that I lived at. So you know that like inch gap on the door?
Yeah.
He put a seal on that door, right? Because I hexed the apartment for everybody that wasn't me to make it run about 30 minutes slow. So he made it to where everybody in the house just ran 5 minutes slow. Like no matter what you did, you just ran 5 minutes slow. And that was the seal of compression at the doorway at the threshold. What really fucking annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, he hated the time dilation stuff that was in that space. It's like you could go in and it's just it feels slower than the rest of the world.
Okay.
So spatial gaps using spatial references like doorway spells and gateway magics and stuff like that is both hilarious and interesting to watch the effects of.
Yeah.
So it'll be really cool to see what you get for the training ground setup, Alex. I'm looking forward
Oh,
to
yeah.
seeing that.
I just needed once I get. Eventually, what we'll do is we'll need some lumber for which I don't think will be too much. Really, it's just a couple 2x4s, approximately 5 2x4s for a decent sized rope list.
Yeah. So get the measurements, get that sort of setup, and then tell me what you need, and we'll get over to the Lowe's and see if they can't deliver it to you.
Oh, I just remembered. Remember in the circle, I posted a description of what the being that I saw in the apartment building that used to be a hospital.
Yeah.
I actually have a picture that I posted in the circle,
Neat.
and it's of what the creature that I saw on the roof through the door. So if you go into the circle, you'll find the post.
Hell yeah!
That's awesome.
But yeah. I also had a friend of mine just recently, like within a week ago. He got himself because he was curious. He's a Christian, so he doesn't believe in the craft, but he's open minded. And I'm like, well, you know, the way he said it sounded kind of like he was patronizing.
Right.
But I was like, well, then he showed me a video picture. It was, I guess, from a you know those paranormal ghost catchers where you catch the picture. He got what looked like somebody that was in a hoodie, and the ghost was going like this.
Fuck.
And it's in the circle.
Okay.
I also posted it on my timeline.
That's cool.
But yeah, Omen's Dar. If you wanted to join the circle, it's on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you share links? Can you send me the link to it?
I think you're in the group, Brian.
I think you're right.
I'm
Let's
getting it for you right now.
Circle, right?
Circle of Witches right here.
And yeah.
Did you get it?
Yeah, it's for. Oh, I can't. Yeah, I'll put it in private chat for you, and then you can put it in the chat. Because for some reason it won't let me do it.
Holy crap, snacks, Mike!
I don't.
What'd you just send me? Holy shit!
I don't know what I send you. I sent it in the StreamYard's chat. I sent you the circle thing.
No, I'm talking about like that.
Oh, that is wicked. I like that.
Oh, you were talking. That was a while. Holy fuck,
Oh,
bro!
wow.
Wow. Go back to the first pick.
Wow.
I did a paranormal case in Colorado, and you talk about energy. There was a energy in this closet that would actually keep opening the closet for this lady's cat to go in. It was trying to catch the cat, and I went in with the PS7 spirit box and my EMF detector, and eventually found out that that's what it was, and told the lady that not to freak out. It's just something opening the door. But You want to talk about energy? You can see the energy just like
coming off your back. Yeah, it's like you had a smoked spirit on your back.
Yeah. So this part of the conversation from way back long ago popped up when I switched back over. So I'm just gonna say, all right, spirits want to talk about spirits. Like, fuck it, why not? Like, let the technology be possessed and show this shit off.
Yeah,
Like, fuck
That
it.
is really cool. What is that? Two separate orbs coming up in wisp?
no. That's actually like on the right hand, the right side door, the tan door. That was our front door in the trailer.
Hmm.
The door to the left is just a regular brown door that was open, and part of the window in that room was showing, and so light would come in that little sliver of window. And for some reason, that's where the energy came from in both sides of that light. Like that was how the picture turned out.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
that's pretty cool. Did that happen 10 years ago?
Back in 2013.
That's
the
cool.
right date.
I'm gonna start using flash more to see if there's because it's that extra light that they can use to help manifest.
There was I don't believe there was any flash on that camera.
Really? Okay.
But yeah,
The
I don't
photographer is
flash.
sitting behind you, is she not? No, she's in the other room.
I don't use flash because it can interfere with like dust and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So I'll just especially
here I'm gonna get on YouTube.
Yeah, if it's at nighttime, I'll use an infrared light.
Okay, there we go.
But I do have to get off here and go help my girl and clean the house. So I will talk to y'all later.
Absolutely. You have a wonderful afternoon. I've got to go do the same, so we can call it here for the day. Thank you for joining us today, Stephen. I appreciate you for being
Yeah.
here. Thank you. Divine Sorcerer, as always, you're awesome. Stay safe, everybody. We'll see you next time. Don't be evil.
Don't be evil.
Don't
Don't
be evil.
leave.